If somebody could pull it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be live right now.
Who did you want to talk?
I just want to make sure everyone's voice is coming through before we actually...
Is mine?
Get started.
Is mine?
Oh,
Is mine?
is mine?
We're doing a mic check.
Mic check.
I checked.
Also, if
Is
you
anyone
hear,
watching?
Can I get a
if
mic
you
check?
hear my brother and my
Who's
dad,
watching
they are
it?
playing a game that cannot be mentioned in the background.
Wow, no one's watching.
Oh my
Alright, I'm
God.
gonna pull
Hang
it
on.
up.
Give me a
Hold on.
sec.
Who's doing it?
Alright, T-Glass is here.
Okay, well,
Am I here?
Oh my God. Who's doing it?
Extreme Talk.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully now.
Oh my
Hey.
God, there's voices. Alright, everybody can hear everyone. Okay,
okay.
we're
Cool.
good. That worked out the first time.
Perfect.
Alright, everybody, welcome back to another Fast Family Racing Race Hub. Tonight, episode 2, we got some different drivers, one returning driver. So let's get to it. We've got 2 truck drivers tonight. We got Odd Coast 08, first time on Race Hub. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing excellent, Job. How are you?
I'm good. We also have Puzzle Nose, a returning Truck Series driver from the Summer Series. Puzzle, how are you tonight?
Pretty good, Slide Job. How are you doing?
Pretty good. All right, and then we weren't able to get any National Series drivers, so we'll talk a little bit about the National Series coming up here. But we also got a couple of Cup drivers. We got T-Glass 19's back for the first time since the Summer Series on Race Hub.
Yeah,
How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic.
I'm sure you are. And last but not least, he was on Race Hub episode 1 from this season, Extreme Shocks. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, let's jump right into it. So we are now just past 10 weeks in the regular season, which is the halfway point for the regular season. So we are now entering that back half, thinking about the playoffs. But let's do a little recap for the first 10 weeks of racing. So Odd Coast, let's just start it out. So you've had an interesting season so far. Started off a little slow, just like the Summer Series, but building momentum every single week. I know you've been actually getting a few top 10s, more so than the Summer Series, and then you just capped it off last week with it for your first top 5 ever. So, take us through so far how your season has gone and how you're being able to put together better finishes every week.
I mean, honestly, experience plays a really big part in this. When learning some tricks with the setup and just getting comfortable. Some of the tracks I hadn't raced that much on with trucks before, and learning how the adjustments affect the car. And there's some tracks where I just needed to get more laps on, and prior to this league, I was used to just tearing it up in public lobbies, and then you go in with all of our guys, and it's a whole different level, and you have to really deal with your hands being sore and things like that, and then dealing with these guys that have really high quality equipment. So it's different level. But what I've done to make the best with what I can is I put in a lot more time into practice, and asking people for advice, and just hitting my stride and capitalizing on the tracks I knew I was good at. Like Eldora is one that I've had circles since I saw the schedule. I figured I would get a top 5, to be honest, but you never know. There's been a couple of them, like at Phoenix, where I let one get away. But I'm doing a really I don't know. I'm just getting better, and I'm having fun. You know, we have a really great group of guys that I look forward to racing with every week.
Yeah, I think you really touched on a lot of good points there. That practice and just getting laps on tracks is definitely a key to success. You got a little taste in the summer. It was only, I believe, 13, 14 weeks, but this regular season, we go everywhere. So there's some tracks you saw, some tracks you haven't, and just getting laps in is definitely worth it. But I'm glad you're having fun. That's the main part, and it's been really awesome watching you improve on that. My last question for this first segment for you is, are there any tracks that you raced in the summer series that you've either raced now for the second time or haven't raced yet that you were taking something from that race and applying it and learning from it?
Can you repeat that slide? Like, man, I'm sorry.
Very good. So is there a track that you raced in the summer series that you're going to race again in the regular season, the 30-week season, that you really took some notes from and are really going to apply that or have applied that for the major season?
I mean, it started with week one. I'm actually at Daytona because that was actually my first race in this league, and although I didn't get the best finish, even though I thought I was going to, it's just pretty much learning to be patient, And another one that I took that I'm going to take some notes from is Kentucky. I did atrocious at Kentucky last year, and I realized you have to be really careful with the wedge because if you reduce the wedge too much after like 5 laps, it just snaps. The charger snaps around, and I remember being miserable in the summer series at Kentucky. So I want to make sure I don't over-adjust.
Yeah, definitely. I always say if you do everything right in a race, you really didn't learn anything from it. So
yeah,
we all remember races like that where it went terribly for us, and it just it gives you a painful memory that you can learn from, and you won't make that mistake again. So that'll be really interesting to see how well you do coming up tomorrow for that Kentucky race.
And Road America too. Yeah, also Road America. Road America, I did. Yeah. Road America was I think my third one last season, and that one, I also took some notes on it, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every race I'm looking forward to.
I'm glad you brought up Road America because there's a guy sitting next to you that knows about Road America very well. It was his only win in the summer series last year. And actually I can say that now, last year in 2020. And I know you came back, Puzzle, and you struggled early, and you said, man, I just can't wait to get to the road courses. And Canadian Tire got away, but you were able to fight back, and you actually ended up winning for the first time this season. So why don't you take us through the beginning of your season and how you're able to bounce back from that?
Well, the beginning of season was actually really good. Constant top fives, except for Dover. I finished way outside the top 10 even because I lagged out. But second at Daytona and a lot of other tracks. But like you said, Canadian Tire slipped through my fingers. So did Charlotte Roval. Oh man, that one still hurts. But I took that as a learning experience that no matter what, you're gonna have to battle through traffic, and I have to learn that eventually. And that day was a hard lesson to learn, but I've really taken that lesson to heart, and I've been able to gather up not only one win but 2 wins at Indianapolis and Sonoma, and I think I've got a lot more in the tank, and you're gonna see a lot more wins from me coming soon. So far,
that sounds great.
Yeah, so far, a great season. Halfway through the regular season, but yeah, definitely can't wait to build on this season and make it into something bigger.
Absolutely, and I know you did mention the not reaching victory lane, but getting those top fives. It almost seems like, as far as the playoffs concerned, that can be as much important. Just getting as many points as you can, because we've seen it come down to last regular season in the Truck Series. 1 point could mean the difference. So that's
Yeah.
definitely worth it. So my next question for you is, I know you won at Road America last series, and you come in and you were really circling those road courses. What is it about road course racing that really matches your skill set?
One thing about why I love road courses is it's different from your everyday oval layout, and there are more slower portions of the track, especially like at Sonoma, the hairpin turn, the carousel, where it's not super fast, but it can make or break a lap. And slower portions of a track, that's where I excel, in my opinion. But I love different layouts and layouts that aren't typically ran every day in oval racing. So that's why I like road courses, but most of my style from those road courses can transfer into oval racing. But God, I can't wait for more road courses, man. Ugh.
Wow, we've got quite a few of them. I know, just looking at the schedule, you've got Road America, I'm sure your favorite, and Mid Ohio coming up, and then for the
Indy.
first time in Fast Family history, we have 2 road courses in the playoffs. So you've got shots at Watkins Glen and as Otto said, at the new Indy road course. So I guess my last question for you in this segment is, since we brought that up, the Indy road course was just introduced not too long ago. So new road course, unknown to all of us. What kind of practice have you done on that one? What are your feelings about it so far, and what can we expect to see from you once we reach that stage?
Well, the type of practice I've been doing is learning the line and then seeing what I can do setup-wise to help. What I've learned from the Indy Road course so far, I haven't learned that much, but the line is pretty specific there. So there's basically only one line you can take in order to get a really good fast lap. So I'm not going to reveal any more secrets yet, but definitely look out for that one. That one's going to be a wild card in the playoffs, especially since it's new.
Absolutely, as we did with the Roval a couple seasons ago. Now we're gonna be doing with that. It's gonna be definitely another one of those wild cards. So good luck to you, and we'll see what the rest of the regular season can bring for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. All right, moving on. So, talking about rough starts, we got to talk to Mr. T-Glass. You had a great, start to the season, actually, winning the Daytona Shootout, and then it just seemed, good finishes, but not finding victory lane until it seemed like the magic started in the Truck Series at New Hampshire, and that ended up getting you a Cup Series win right after that at Martinsville. So getting your first points win of the season. So, tell us how, you fought through those weeks beforehand and were able to finally find yourself in victory lane for a points win.
Yeah, we were getting a lot of consistent finishes, but we couldn't finish the race out in the lead until Martinsville. Until Martinsville last week, we won the truck race and the cup race. Martinsville I expected to win that. I was the fastest by a long shot. I almost lost the cup race, but we got it done. And honestly, I expected to lose Martinsville with the way the year has been going. I felt like we could have won Daytona if we didn't lag out, but that's always random. But we're like fourth in points right now, fifth in playoff points. So we're looking good so far, especially with that win last week.
Yeah, that definitely helped. I know just watching the standings week to week, you had a lot of points. You're actually leading all drivers that haven't won a race for the longest time. And then once you won that first race, it jumped you up quite a few positions because you had outpointed drivers that had found victory lane already. And that really helped a lot to get that win. So, it's really really good to see that as well. But what do you think it is at Martinsville that really just makes you so much better than other drivers?
I don't know why I'm so good at Martinsville. It's just I can run that line like a little diamond, like Chase Elliott was running, I think, IRL. I just run that perfectly every single lap, and it's mostly about consistency at Martinsville. With that many laps, you just gotta keep running consistent laps, consistently good laps, and I just can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it, the consistency at the short tracks and even the road courses is really, what I think the key to success at those tracks is. And it just seemed like throughout the whole race, you showed, that complete consistency. Didn't really make many mistakes. And the other thing is, you really found success getting through lap traffic. And I know, Puzzle brought that up, that it's very tricky sometimes, and you have to be really patient. So, what would you say, not just in Martinsville, but in general, what's your take on lap traffic and how do you usually find your way through?
Usually if it's someone that's a lot slower than me, I can expect them to make a mistake. But if they're taking up the bottom, I'll definitely give them a nudge out of the way. I'm not afraid to use the bumper at Martinsville, especially because I know if you sit behind someone too long, you're just letting the person in second who's probably not as fast as me just catch me because I'm not going to move them out of the way. So I don't really care if I move people out of the way, especially if they're slower than me. Then they're definitely probably going to get the boot if they don't move.
Yeah, sometimes it definitely, warrants it, Martinsville specifically. So, it's definitely one of those tracks that, there's not much room, and it really kind of encourages you to use the bumper because you can lose so much time not, or, taking the chance of getting caught up in an incident. So definitely worthwhile strategy. And you seem to be another one of those drivers warming up. Pretty much everyone we're talking to, and I think our last guest is no exception to that. Extreme, you actually started off the year very hot, finishing in the top 4 at Daytona, going on to win at Dover, getting that first points win, and then it seemed like a drought, and it wasn't for lack of trying either. I remember you being in the top 5 at Canadian Tire, and even leading the Charlotte Roval until late mistake, and just running in the top 5 as well at Phoenix, or both Phoenix races. And it's really just been I would say a lot of factors, but maybe just the luck factor not working in your favor. So, why don't you tell us from the last time we talked to you, after the first 5 weeks, what has really changed? Have you changed anything in your strategy or your practice to get out of that slump?
Yeah, it's exactly kind of what you said, anywhere from Canadian Tire to about New Hampshire, especially New Hampshire, we were in a slump where it just really seemed like we couldn't find the speed that was needed to be in a winning position. And I knew going to Sonoma, that was a track where we could start creating some momentum to start heading back in the right direction in the regular season. And we believe we got third in that race, so it wasn't bad. And then Martinsville wasn't bad. T Glass was just insanely faster than everyone there, and it was going to be really tough to catch him. But then going into the All-Star race, I think winning that really will create some momentum, hopefully going into the second half of the regular season where I have definitely a decent amount of races where I think I'll have a chance to win.
Yeah, definitely. And let's talk about that for a minute. So on Monday, you became the second ever winner of the Fast Family All-Star race, which not only came with a big check, but also locks you into any future All-Star race ever. So that's, that it's almost as close to a Hall of Fame as any in this league. So, take us through, preparation for that race, how you executed, and then, what it really means to you to come home with that win, even though it doesn't show it on the standings.
Yeah, we definitely put in a lot of preparation going into that race, knowing there was a little more, you could say there's money on the line, and definitely I've always been a fan of that track, but I wouldn't consider it like one of my all-time favorites. But yeah, really it's kind of what T-Glass was talking about when it's really about consistency, especially at these short tracks like Martinsville and Bristol. Sometimes at Bristol it's easy to want to get back on the throttle too early, and then you'll end up hitting the wall and screwing yourself, or maybe not setting yourself up for a long car strategy. So that's definitely what we did. We definitely went for a tighter setup, so when it came to the end of the runs, we weren't struggling like some others.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we did talk about, short tracks where the consistency is, king. But I also think that, you were under a lot more pressure than normal. I'm sure you felt that from even just qualifying because, not everyone makes the All-Star race. There were a lot of drivers that didn't. The majority of the league didn't. And, there were some that even tried to race their way in to the All-Star Open. And so you're basically facing the best of the best for that season or ever, with those being locked in from future seasons. So, what is it? I guess my main question here is, what does it mean for you to win this race, and what does it mean for the future of you in this league?
I think it definitely shows that when we put in the effort and the practice, how fast we really can be. I think that's something that I've slacked, especially when I went through that slump, is the amount of practice that I was doing. And definitely when we bumped back up for Bristol, you could see the results and the speed that we had. So I really think I'm definitely going to start putting in a little more practice every week, and hopefully the results will keep showing, and how fast we can really be, and hopefully contend when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that. You definitely, regardless of results in the first half of the season, I think everyone knows how fast you are. It really came down to, even just the qualifying. Your qualifying time was set on the first day of qualifying, and that time stood until about 4 to 5 days before the event, with qualifying starting 2 weeks early. So that just kind of shows what kind of, speed you have. And, then it just comes down to execution and just a little bit of luck sometimes. But, you definitely got it done on one of the biggest stages, probably the second biggest stage that we have in this league, with obviously the Cup Series championship race being the top. So, hopefully we see you there and see if you can do what you did this time.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on. So we just talked about the first 10 weeks of the season. Now we're going to talk about what's coming up. So we're going to bounce back to the Truck Series and taking a look at the schedule here. You've got Kentucky tomorrow, and then a couple of road courses, and then two double headers coming up, along with tracks like Darlington, Atlanta, Pocono, which are all beasts of their own, and then ending it at the old championship race of Homestead. So, Odd Coast, taking a look forward, what tracks stand out to you? Which ones have you circled as I really need or want to do well at? And which of those are ones that you are almost afraid of or are not looking forward to?
I mean, personally, I'm not really afraid of any of the tracks. I mean, 'cause at the end of the day, it's experience. I always try to have fun. But in my opinion, ones are going to be more fun, races to deal with, especially being on a controller, not a wheel. So it's a little bit different for me, I think, than some. Um, Probably like I know Richmond's going to be a really good race. I love Richmond. It's really one of those pace tracks, where consistency is going to be really key. I I personally like running at Atlanta, but ones that are really more important, obviously, going into the playoffs are going to be Gateway and Richmond because they're both double headers. So it's double the points, double the stakes, and it's an opportunity to really gain and more chances to get a win. And of course with the whole like reverse in the starting order in the second race, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's definitely probably one of those real places. Those are the real places where you can really advance your position and maybe get a win. I think one of the more challenging races that we're going to see is probably Darlington, because there's only a few different places to get passes, like, and the racing line is so tight there. Like even in in real life, you only have you have to get them going into the turn or get a really good run out the turn, which I'm not really looking forward to. But Darlington is a cool track. I appreciate it, but I'm not really looking forward to it myself.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of the drivers in the league. It's definitely a track that you'd love to win at, but hate to drive sometimes.
Yeah.
It can definitely eat you alive.
Like,
So yeah, you brought up a good point too with the double headers. We saw some drivers sweep them, going from 0 to 2 wins all in one night. So I think you made a good point there on needing to capitalize on those particular nights as well as some of the others.
yeah, like honestly, like luckily, we know that most of our guys, most of the time, like we're a really good group to race with. Like, so it's gonna make Darlington a good race, but like if you do that in like a public lobby, I mean, you're gonna get slammed. You know what I mean? It's just how it is like every single time. But I think it's gonna
Absolutely.
I think it's gonna be a really really good race, but it's still gonna be a pain in the rear end.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll definitely challenge everybody to the max, but I'm very confident that you guys will put on a show, and it'll definitely be worth watching. And looking at the points, let's just talk points and statistics for a second before we move on. So I know you in the summer series, you actually found yourself on the other side of the coin, below the cut line, but right now you're actually above the cut line, plus 102 points, sitting at 373. So you're definitely on the positive side here. With a couple of your competitors between you and the line, but still farther down the list, you're sitting right now in the 10th spot. So a lot of ground to gain with no playoff points, but sitting where you're sitting right now, what do you think your strategy is for the rest of the season, given you are above the cut line, but once the points reset, you're going to be at a slight disadvantage unless you come up with some playoff points?
I mean, just like being consistent. I need to really try to come up with a couple of statements, but just being consistent, which is something I've done. If I didn't I had some penalties. I think I had 2 penalties this season, and that really is just amazing. Like where I'd be sitting if I didn't have penalties. You know, but just like showing up, getting those top fives, trying to get a win is something for me. Like I'm dying to get a win. It's been however many races I'm missing. You know, uh, and I want to win so bad. Even like honestly, like at Eldora when I finished the line third, even with a couple laps to go, like I felt I felt the euphoria. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't mess them up. Now.
Yeah,
Dude, I was
definitely.
I was I was watching the freaking last countdown. Uh, I was feeling it, honestly.
Yeah. No,
But just
absolutely.
yeah,
And I'm looking at your stats, and I believe in your 12 starts you have two top tens, one top five. Actually 13 starts. Sorry about that.
so,
And your average finish has actually improved. You had a 12.2 in the summer series, and you're actually just south of that. So you can already see the improvement and
yeah,
the consistency coming in. Um, do you think that really the more getting more of those top tens and top fives is going to lead to you moving up the leaderboard?
yeah. I really do. As long as I finish the guys that are, as long as I finish ahead of the guys that are behind me, then yeah. That are in front of me.
Yeah,
As long as I'm
absolutely.
doing
Yeah,
this,
that yeah.
it's
It
related.
really comes down to who you're racing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Even throughout like something that I do, and I don't know if anyone else does. It's something that I actually learned in track in middle school. Like in running track. Is always race yourself. Even if you're in last place, always go for that best time. Think about what you could do better like on the next lap. You know what I mean? And I try not to worry too much about like let's just say like I'm just gonna like let's just say like I can't worry about what Puzzle's doing because otherwise I'll overthink. I need to worry about what I can do. You know what I mean? You know?
Absolutely. I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
A lot of drivers get caught up in, who they're racing and the points, and they get inside their own heads,
Hmm.
and it ends up being disastrous. I think
Exactly.
that's a really good characteristic you have, and a great mindset to have, and that's the kind of attitude that leads to championships. Just, racing your race and doing what you need to do and not worrying about what's going on around you.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good stuff. Talking to your cohort, Puzzle Knows. We're a little bit talking about a different story with you at the top of the standings. The only Truck Series driver with 2 wins. You're leading in playoff points by a significant margin, 16 to I believe Chris's 7. So you've got a lead in wins, lead in playoff points. However, surprisingly enough, you do not lead in the regular season championship. Actually, Jersey Devil has 610 points to your 569. So, what really is your goal for the rest of the season? How are you going to approach it? And what are you looking for to close these next 10 weeks out?
Slide. The main thing that I'm looking for is consistent finishes. Not only do I want wins, which I feel like most people should be aiming for. Um, I feel like consistent finishes, as long as I'm finishing ahead of Jersey Devil, I want to get that top spot at the end of the regular season because I want to prove to everyone else, well, not only in the Truck Series but in the league, that I'm the candidate to win the championship. I want to win this championship so badly because I have worked so hard, not only just this season, but the past couple of other seasons that I've raced, not only in this league, but in different leagues. I want to make sure I win this championship, not only for everybody else, but for me. I feel like I need this, and I've worked so hard that to see it slip away from my fingertips would crush me. So I want to win this, and the only way by doing that is by winning the regular season championship first. And that's going to be my goal for rounding
Absolutely.
out the season.
That's a great goal and a great mindset, and you've really executed. I'm taking a look at your stat line right now, and in 11 starts, you have 10 top fives. So right out the gate, there's only one race you didn't finish in the top 5, and you have an average finish of 3.5. So you're looking at significantly high numbers, and you're putting on a show, at least for the first 10 weeks here. That's gonna be interesting to watch if you can keep those numbers up, because if you can, those are going to be Truck Series record numbers if you can continue it. But I'm sure, like you said, a Truck Series championship would definitely be on the list to check off. So I would say you're definitely heading for it, and it's definitely awesome to see the improvement from the Summer Series. So congratulations on that. So my last question for you in this segment is, so what is you said consistent finishes, but is there anything that really it would be the key to get to the championship? Because we have to get to the playoffs. You're already locked into them. So, what is it? Is it stage wins? Is it race wins? What is your end all be all focus here, or is it just the regular season championship?
Well, as well as the regular season championship, I feel like wins and stage wins are going to also play a factor in getting me to that Final Four, because the only way you get there is by advancing through rounds. And if I have a crappy round and I don't have enough playoff points to push me above the cut line, then I'm not going to get a championship now, will I? So I also have to go for stage wins and get consistent finishes within those stages, as well as getting consistent finishes at the end of the race and going for that win and going all for nothing. All or nothing.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we've seen many times in Fast Family history where those playoff points can really bail you out. I know that almost more than anyone else in last Cup Series season. I actually had a dry spell in the playoffs and only ended up winning one race in the 10 races, and was able to point my way through to the Final Four. So it was definitely helpful to have that early or in that regular season success help carry you over into the rounds. So definitely be watching you chasing those all important playoff points. Talking about playoff points and championships. So T-Glass, we talked about earlier that you had not won, so you were in a good spot points wise, but not really playoff point wise. But now after Martinsville, you sit tied for 4th with 10 playoff points, 1 win, and you're looking pretty good in the point category, sitting in 4th only by 1 point. So you're only 1 point out of 3rd place, which would pay you 5 playoff points if the regular season were to end today. So, as far as the statistics category, what are you looking for in these next 10 weeks? And where do you think you can find that success?
I'm looking for any way to get playoff points at this point, because now I'm locked in the playoffs and we're looking at that first round now. After Kentucky, there's a couple road courses which are not going to be good for me. Those are going to be just salvage something, maybe top 10s. But Kentucky, hopefully we can get some playoff points. I know I won the truck race in the Summer Series at Kentucky, so hopefully we can bring that over to the Cup Series side. And we will be racing tomorrow to defend that Kentucky title from the Summer Series. And then after that, we'll just go from there.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely in your position now after getting the win to just go after those playoff points. But yeah, I think those regular season points are definitely to come into a factor. Those all important season-ending bonuses we've seen help drivers out tremendously. Could be up to a maximum of 3 race wins. So definitely not something to ignore. But we will be watching you in Kentucky. We saw you put on a really strong performance in the summer. So we'll see if you can give the Truck Series guys a run for their money tomorrow. And but is there any if you were to pick one race on the rest of the schedule that you think you have the best shot at, where would you put your money?
For the regular season,
Yeah.
probably Monday at Kentucky or Atlanta,
Interesting.
which are two races that I won in the Truck Summer Series last year. I know I'm strong there, and I think those are my best chances with such a stacked field. I don't think I can win any that I'm not like super good at.
Yeah, it's definitely leaning on experience can definitely pay off a lot. You know, you never know with some tracks. I remember getting my first win at Pocono and thinking that wasn't even a track I was thinking to do well at, and it just happened. So you never know what's going to happen, but definitely not a bad thing to lean on experience. So my last question to you is looking at your Cup Series stats. In 11 starts, you have 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and an average finish of 7.0. Are you necessarily happy with these stats? Do you think that you'll definitely improve them by the end of the regular season, or do you think this is kind of where you're gonna sit for the season?
I don't really like my average finish so far, but that Daytona leg out didn't really help me. I finished like dead last there because of that. Hopefully we can get that average finish up. The rest of my stats are looking pretty good. Shows consistency, top 5s, top 10s. But yeah, that average finish is kind of rough at 7.0.
Yeah, definitely a little rough for you considering what you did last season in the trucks, but you know, in the Cup Series at the highest level, a top 10 average finish, not too shabby at all, and almost, you know, to that top 5, which is definitely desired. So, you're definitely nearing it. Looks like the top 5 category could use a little bit more to it, but definitely a strong start at least with a lot of improvement, and specifically going from the Truck Series straight to the Cup, you know. Now that we're 10 weeks in, you know, has the Cup Series really lived up to your expectations? Have you found any necessarily difficulties going from that Truck Series right up, or or have you really, just settled in nicely?
I think now I'm pretty settled into the Cup Series. At the start, I knew there was a lot of guys that were as good or better than me coming in, so that was a little intimidating. I wish I would have ran in the National Series, in the Summer Series, with a bunch of those guys, because you saw a bunch of those National Summer Series guys come up to the Cup, and they're still at the top of the leaderboard in the Cup Series. They're one of the best guys in this league, and I wish I would have ran with them last summer.
Yeah, definitely. Racing around guys that are performing better than you can definitely help your performance. So, yeah, we saw a lot of those guys move up and just light it up in the Cup Series. So it's definitely been challenging to run around them. But, definitely, the more races we get into, the more experience you get, and the better the finishes become. So we wish you good luck in the rest of the regular season here, and the playoffs will be interesting for sure. And moving on, so Extreme, we did talk about that All-Star run. Unfortunately for you, I know a lot of positives to it, but the one thing is it didn't go in the win column as far as the standings go. But, you're still locked into the playoffs, but looking at the standings, you're in a good spot points-wise. You're sitting there with 498, just 1 point ahead of T-Glass. So you're sitting in a 5 playoff point spot right now, but I know some more wins would definitely be welcome for you. So, what is your focus, and how are you going to use that win you just got to right the ship, as it were, for this back half?
Definitely answer close to T-Glass. Definitely we're going to use the momentum from the All-Star win and push for more playoff points going into this second half of the regular season. I know That's basically our lowest point right now, and that's something we need to pick up because I know you and Austin both have 20, and that'll definitely pay high for y'all, especially with being the two leading in total points as well. And I know I'm bound to miss a few more races due to other things, so I'm more worried about getting the wins, to get the 5 player points or even the stage wins just to get the one.
Oh, we might have lost you there.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Now
Did
we
you
can.
did you hear anything?
Yeah, we heard just the one and then it went out.
Oh, I was just saying, I'm expecting to miss a few more races, so I really need to take time in these races and really go for wins and stage wins to help build those playoff points up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know for you specifically, too, you missed a few races that you were really hoping to be in, especially I know Indy was one of them, being one of your favorites. But as far as the 12 races left, 10 weeks left, if you were to circle one on your schedule, which one of those are you going to really attack and try to get playoff points in?
Definitely Atlanta will be one, and also Pocono. I have redemption at after what happened in the summer series in the summer.
Yeah, we definitely watched that one, and I know redemption can be a huge motivational factor. As for me, it was New Hampshire. After losing the Xfinity race there, I was hellbound to try to get the Cup Series win, and practiced until I got it perfect. So I'm sure, we're going to be seeing you perform very well there in a different kind of car, so obviously presenting new challenges, but definitely going to be fun to watch. Um, let's take a gander though, because I think the standings, really don't tell the whole story, especially when it comes to you in the Cup Series. Taking a look at your stat line, you have 11 starts. And in those, 10 starts. Sorry, in those 10 starts, you have 8 top fives, 9 top tens. So again, just like Puzzle, you've almost finished in the top 5 every single race you've been in, and you got an average finish of 4.0, which, if I'm correct, is very close to
It's insane.
I think
the
Austin has
lowest in the
3.9.
lead. Yeah, you're right. Your cohort Austin Icon only with 3.9, just below you. So you got the second best average in the league, and you've been just killing it with the top fives and top tens. So I guess this might be a stupid question, but are you happy with where you are, and where do you want to see yourself at the end of this regular season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a 4.0 average finish is really good, and I think it's better than, we were talking about the drought earlier, so I think this 4.0 obviously doesn't prove that I had a drought, but, I definitely would like to have the best average finish, and I think we can do that in the second half of this regular season, and yeah, that's definitely something I'll push forward to.
Yeah, definitely. And you talked about, or actually, we talked about earlier, just people that you're racing. So I know your biggest competitors being Austin Icon, myself, and among others. What are you focused on those around you and just beating those specific people, or are you more like Odd Coast where you're just focused on your own race? What is your mindset going into these last couple of races?
I really liked what Odko said when it comes, really sometimes you get tracked when it comes to looking at others and worrying about them. I think you can definitely worry about others and definitely want to finish higher than them, but at the same time, you really need to focus on your race and reach your personal goals that you are working towards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely a great way to look at it. I do like that myself. It definitely kind of keeps you focused and not, and it's very easy to lose track of what you're doing when you're looking at others, and it's definitely going to be evident in the playoffs who's doing what, and it'll be interesting for sure. So going into our last segment, we're gonna talk about playoff predictions. I like to do this as soon as we reach midway, as at the beginning of the season it's definitely unclear for sure. But we have seen 12 races, 10 weeks, so let's get to it. So let's start with Odd Coast. Odd Coast, if you were to pick a Final Four for the Truck Series right now, today, who would you predict it be? And give us a reason why.
If I was to pick the top four right now, I'd probably say. I'm looking. Honestly, I'll probably say Puzzle because he's been consistent all season. You can see the playoff points. I know that Puzzled, and probably Jersey. I'll say make it to the Final Four. Nonetheless, too, that's a good question. I'm gonna say probably Sea Blaze. For Chris. And that's a good question.
Putting you on the spot for sure.
Yeah, no, I know. I didn't expect that to sort of.
Definitely not easy for sure, and I know.
Yeah,
I think you got some solid picks for sure.
Yeah, I would probably say, I'll wrap it up with probably Slushy, just because he probably has the most experience is what it probably boils down to. It's going to be a toss up between for that fourth spot. It's probably going to be a toss up between Slushy and Haskell. I think that I'm going to end up falling short probably.
Definitely a safe pick, going with experience there. You never know, we might find you up there for sure, but yeah, I agree with you. Definitely some solid picks, a lot of talent, both new and old, but a lot of guys with experience in there, guys that have been around either in the summer series or for more. And like you brought up Slushy, I think the guy with the most truck starts right now, along with KR, in that series. So definitely some good picks. Puzzle, what about you? What would you agree with Odd Coast, or would you make any changes to that?
I would make some slight changes. So I'd agree. Unfortunately, I'm a bit biased, but I think I'd make the Final Four with Jersey Devil and Sea Blaz. But I'm gonna go with Azza. I think he's got potential to make it to the Final Four.
Yeah, he's actually really good. Yeah, he's very fast.
Yeah, and I think it was New Hampshire, and then what was the other race? There was one other one, but he and I had some really good battles in the last couple of races. It was Martinsville. That's the track. He has been really fast on those short ovals, which I don't know if there's Bristol in there, but he does have some speed at the 1.5 miles, and I think that surprised me. Because I thought he'd be really good at road courses. When he went to the Roval, I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna have a challenge in him. But I think he's better at 1.5 miles than road courses, which that surprised me. So I'm gonna go with me, Jersey, Chris, or Sea Blaz, sorry, and
Odd Coast.
Absolute Azza.
Oh man, well that's definitely some solid picks, and yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Absolute Azza has been one of our newer, I guess, phenoms, as you could say. I'm sure you'd love me using that word. He's racked up 378 points, and he missed a few races of the season. So it's definitely been awesome to see him catch up, make up ground, and I think he's one of the guys as well that we're going to be seeing in Victory Lane soon. So definitely going to be watching as it gets close. But like our coach said, there's a couple of favorites, but then those last couple of spots is tough. It really is. So it's going to come down to execution and somewhat the tracks in that in those I would say specifically the last round, the round of of 8. Or no, it's 6
It's-
in the Truck Series. I apologize.
Yeah.
6 for the Truck Series, 8 for the Cup Series. But that round is make or break time. We've seen all kinds of crazy stuff happen there. So good picks, good picks. Moving on to T-Glass. Why don't I put you on the spot next? And if the regular season were to end today, who would be your picks to be the Cup Series Final Four?
Well, the top 3 for me are easily Extreme, Austin, and you. You guys have been top 5 pretty much every single race you guys participate in, and those are the easy 3 that'll most likely make the Final Four. And then that round of 8 has Talladega in the schedule, so I think that 4th person will probably be the winner of Talladega. And since I am the super speedway god, I'll put myself in as number 4.
There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah, you definitely. Now let me make an interesting point here. So we've got another gentleman. You've raced with him, who claims to also be the super speedway king. He actually won the co-championship for super speedways, and it is Dab King. So do you see him as your biggest competition, going into maybe a must-win situation at Talladega? Do you see him as your biggest competition there, or do you just think you're just going to run away with it?
Did you say Dab King?
Yep. Dab King won 4
yeah.
races, 3 of which
The
at
same
super
thing will.
speedways.
The same thing could happen that happened in the shootout. He just walls people.
I hope that
Pretty
doesn't
easy.
happen.
That's how he lost the win in the shootout. That's how I won the shootout. Wouldn't surprise me if he did it again. He did it like 3 times in the last lap, and that's not how you win a super speedway.
Agreed.
Well, there you have it. And I know Extreme remembers that race very fondly, as I believe he was a victim of that last lap craziness as well.
Possibly.
So definitely interesting. So Extreme, I gotta say to you, do you agree with T-Glass's picks, and where would you make any changes if so?
I agree with the top 3, but that 4th spot is really hard. And I kind of want to take a bold shot at it and say someone else other than T-Glass. I think for the 4th pick, I think Zachary will make the 4th and final spot. I know he's down, but that's because he missed a few races, but he's been strong about everywhere we went. But I think that last spot's going to come down to Zachary, T-Glass, and Marsh.
Absolutely. Definitely solid picks. That for me, I think that's the hardest pick in any of the Fast Family Racing scenarios. That Cup
What's your
Series
4?
4th spot right now. Ooh, I mean, that's where I'm at too. It's tough because I would actually agree with both of you. I think unless something happens dramatically, I think the 3 of us will really just continue the success we've had so far. But that last pick, you got a Cup Series rookie like Marsh Morrow, who under pressure still ended up coming away with 2 wins to lock himself in after a big points deficit. You got guys like T-Glass who are just consistent everywhere. Doesn't get as many wins, but in the playoffs it can come down to that consistent finish that ends up getting you through. You got guys like Magical Loaf, who's another one who's very consistent, but just hasn't even gotten 1 win yet. So, how hungry is he to move on? And then you got wild cards, in my opinion, like Dab King, Alec, Nilla, even our Truck Series and National Series champions, Libert and Sticky. I mean, the whole field at this point could be a factor. And then you even mentioned it, the guy even at the bottom of the list, Zachary, who I know a lot of people have just been in awe of his road course speed, but as well as speed at other tracks as well. I mean, it's tough. If I were to put a name on that slot, I'm just gonna, for the sake of it, why not? I'm gonna differ with you. I'm gonna put Marshmallow there. He's been fast. You saw him win at Sonoma and then turn around and win on an oval. So, I mean, for me, champions have to have the whole package, have to be quick everywhere. And we've just seen it.
And if I can add a comment to that, if we remember in the summer series in the National, Nilo won that Talladega race to put himself in the Final Four.
True, very true. So it can come down to I think T Glass brought up a great point. Looking at that last round in the Cup Series and in all the other series too. You got Kansas, Talladega, Auto Club. Now, obviously Talladega being a wild card, but I almost point Auto Club to being one as well. I know T Glass will argue with you there. He's had a lot of success there as well, but for me, Kansas is an interesting oval. We've seen some crazy racing there, but Dega and Auto Club, those are two high draft tracks, and can really bring some surprising results. So, what's your thoughts on Auto Club, T Glass? What would you say as far as playoff predictions and what kind of racing do you think will be
If I
there?
don't win Talladega, I'll win Auto Club.
All right, well there it is. You heard
If
it
I'm
first.
still in the playoffs by then.
And if he's not, he's gonna win him anyway. So
Exactly. Win
You
him
heard
whether
it.
he is
All
in
right.
or not.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here in a second. I'm just gonna give all of our drivers one last final thoughts, and then if they have any questions for me as well, I always do that, and we will wrap up the episode. So, Odd Coast, 12 races in, 10 weeks. Final thoughts. What do you got?
I mean, it's been a really, really excellent season. We've had a whole bunch of really good, like overall, mostly high quality racing. I feel like collectively we're getting better. I feel like we're having less wrecks. I feel like everyone. We always are gaining respect for each other. We talk. All of us talk all the time in the chat. And I'm looking forward to see how the season plays out. I'm hoping to scratch out a win somewhere. Personally, and it's just overall, I'm just looking forward to the season progress.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. And we hope to see you in victory lane as well. Definitely putting in the hard work. So it'll definitely pay off. Just a matter of when and where. What about for you, Puzzle? What are your final thoughts on these 10 weeks that we've done so far?
Well, first 10 weeks, definitely really good. I'm a little bit mad that I lagged out of the Dover race where I thought I could have won to keep that top 5 streak, but that's all right. But first 10 weeks, I give it a solid 90% on the grading scale. I think I've done a really good job, but the season isn't over yet, and my job is far from done. So I need to capitalize in these next, 20 weeks, I think. I think we got 20 weeks left,
Yes,
so
sir. 20 weeks.
I got to capitalize on this and go win me a championship.
There you go.
So I just wanted to say
Well
before, I'm
said.
sorry.
Yep,
I think I think the best is yet to come. To be honest, I think that we're gonna have a couple of really, I think the best racing is yet to come this season.
Oh, I agree
Yeah.
with you. I am definitely in agreement with you there. The playoffs specifically
Playoffs.
has historically given us some of the most exciting finishes we've had. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely right with you there, and I'm as excited as you guys are to see what happens. T-Glass, what are your final thoughts on what we've done so far?
I feel like I've been pretty good. Got a lot of points so far. Hoping to improve and win some more races because we just got our first win 2 weeks ago at Martinsville. So hopefully we can get some more wins and get to that Final Four and maybe win us a championship.
There you go. Sounds good to me. except the championship part. Hopefully, maybe he's holding the trophy at the end. We'll see, but very good. And Extreme, what do you got for us?
I know the stats show that it's been a successful first half of the regular season, but I still think there's things that I still need to prove, and I think this regular season and going into playoffs, I have a lot more to show than what I've shown so far, and I'm not close to being done yet.
Absolutely. Sounds like a good plan. Sounds like you know what you need to do, and it's just time to do it. All right, and I do want to apologize for those of you watching that we didn't get any National Series drivers on. Hopefully, we can get them on for the next episode. We definitely want to talk to Highbrow Plot about his first win, as well as Texas Spots. So, looking forward to getting those guys on the show along with others. So, good luck to those guys as well this season. Definitely check them out Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's as good as any of a battle going on for that playoff run. So we'll see how they do. And now I'll turn over the floor. Any questions that the drivers have for me as a driver or league owner?
I have a serious and a funny question.
Uh-oh.
Which one would you like to hear
Here it
first?
comes.
Oh boy.
Let's start with the serious, and then we'll end with funny.
Okay, so we know the big hype has been coming with the new wheel that you have been progressing towards, and I've finally gotten. So I want to
Ooh.
know, do you think with the new wheel and getting it, we saw on Twitter a sneak peek of it. Do you think that your time with the Fanatec wheel has come and you're ready to show what you can do with it?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely been rough. I think Oddcoast really talked about equipment and just, getting the best equipment you can and perfecting what you do. And I think at the point I was last season at the end, I just felt like there was more that I could do if with an equipment upgrade. And I started playing with wheels and eventually got to the point where I felt like I wanted to get the best equipment out there to improve. And obviously that's had some challenges, especially with even just getting the settings right for this particular style of racing and my style of driving. So I think I'm ready to take it on. Not necessarily at the road courses. That's a whole different animal for me. I haven't figured out yet, but I'm working on it for sure. But as far as the oval's concerned, especially at Kentucky this week, I'll definitely be running that wheel. And for me, the advantages were just too attractive to ignore as far as keeping a steadier line. And for me, more importantly, being able to save tires and just keep the car from breaking loose just because of the tire wear, and the advantages of saving fuel with the shifter and that. So it's definitely going to, I believe, improve my racing. There's obviously going to be some hiccups along the way. It's not going to be this just perfect transition, but I think it's time to put the controller down.
So Sly, but what are some of your adjustments that you can make on that thing, like on the actual feedback of the wheel, or like what?
So there's any wheel that you get comes with the in-game settings, and
Yeah.
From a previous wheel
Right.
that I had, those were pretty much standard for me where I liked it. But the main thing with this particular wheel that I got, for those of you that don't know, I got the Fanatec CSL Elite, and it has settings on the wheel itself that you can adjust mid-race, like steering angle and force feedback and all kinds of even braking force you can adjust. So, those were definitely tricky to figure out what they do and how to optimize them for my driving style. Which I think to this point I've got them, in a workable form. I obviously may make adjustments down the road, but I think I'm to the point where I could at least be competitive.
So you can basically like press buttons on the wheel, and like let's just say you can like feel a difference in how the steering wheel feels itself, like
Absolutely.
with how much it takes to turn it.
Yep, absolutely.
That's
So
pretty
if I
cool.
feel like my car is balanced, but I'm just not getting enough response for turning. So say you've raced at Kentucky, and then we go to a track like Martinsville where you want to be able to turn very sharply compared to Kentucky. I can adjust that to where, oh, it's not turning quick enough. Well, let me
Yeah.
hit this button, and now I can do that mid-race. So it's definitely an advantage for sure, but just figuring out how everything works and when and where to change
Yeah.
settings has definitely been a struggle.
That's pretty wild.
Absolutely.
It's like next level.
Yeah.
And so
Extreme,
and
I
so
think you had a funny. Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead. No, I'll let you keep going.
I was gonna say, I
Sorry.
think you had a funny
Yeah, sorry.
question as well.
So I want to go back to Sonoma. We know
Oh no.
that was a high hopes track for you, and
I know this is
you
coming.
went on a different
I know where it's going
strategy.
to.
That seemed you really thought you had it down with the fuel saving, but it seems you were more than a half a lap short. And I just want to hear what were your thoughts when you miscalculated by almost a whole lap.
Well, that was definitely, like you said, it was definitely a high hopes track. I didn't do that well last season there, not the summer series, but the last regular season. I don't know what it was. I know the Xfinity, I had some issues with another driver, but the Cup Series just did not have the speed. And then it seemed like I found the speed throughout the year, and then I think it was on display in the Xfinity Series race there in the summer that I had figured the track out. Well, we go into that race, this race with the Cup Series, obviously a ton more talent. Some of the same guys, though. I remember you being in that race. And we were up front where we needed to be. But Zachary, as you mentioned before, his speed, he seemed to be the guy to beat on raw speed. He definitely made some mistakes, so we were able to capitalize on it, stay up front. And we were up there with Marshmallow and yourself, and we look at the fuel mileage, and it looked like we were, I believe it was 2 laps short, 2 to 3 laps short.
Something like that.
And definitely something to save there. So we kind of backed off of you and Marsh and let you guys go. Figured we could save it all in one run instead of saving a little bit in each run with one pit stop left. And it looked to be right. We were hitting the line with enough fuel, so we decided to step on it and try to catch you guys back down a little bit. And as we hit the line with 1 lap left to go, we were going to pit that lap. I look up at the fuel indicator, and it's at 0. And my only thought was, oh crap, what did I do? And it did not take long for it to run out of fuel. I think we ran out of fuel around the carousel, or maybe just after that. And we had to coast all the way through most of that lap. And at that point, I was like, well, this race is over. And maybe we could get a top 5 out of it for those that didn't save. And then we hit the pit wall. So that was probably a low point of the season. Other than I think hitting the catch fence in the Fast Family Shootout and getting taken out by teammates at Canadian Tire. I think that was the low of the season so far for me. Just missing my breaking point completely and screwing that race. So definitely a fun one to watch for sure. Not to be in my shoes.
And you know what? you were talking about your teammate taking you out Canadian Tire. It seemed to be more than just that teammate's fault, but we don't get into that. But you seem sometimes you like to look at blame and blaming your teammates rather than yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, at MSJ Motorsports, we definitely place accountability on all of our drivers to succeed and to push hard and practice. And we've released a few drivers throughout the season for that very reason. If a driver really just isn't putting in the effort, then we try not to affiliate ourselves with them. But yeah, I mean, all of our drivers, especially in the Cup Series, we race each other maybe harder than anyone else, and it's just the way we do it. We enjoy it. I enjoy racing them every single week, and it's nice to be they're nice to see that they're some of the drivers to beat. That's just always that. But like I think any driver that's ever done league racing realizes in a long season, you race around guys, the same guys, usually all the time, around your skill level, and those are the people you tend to run into the most. And that's where rivalries start. And it's not because you hate somebody or, you rub them the wrong way. It just seems to be that you race around them more than anyone else, and eventually you're going to get into some incidents. I know I've messed up teammates before. I know I actually ended up messing up you, Extreme, at Sonoma a little bit, and I've been messed up by my own teammates. So, it just ends up happening. But the silver lining for me is that if we weren't running into each other at the front, then we weren't at the front. So I at least can say, well, even if we do take each other out, we're all in the front, so it means we're at least getting a lot of speed.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing I've also learned is staying away from my teammates on road courses. Road America.
Charlotte Roval, we won't talk about.
Evasive action. Yeah, you want to bring up funny questions, Extreme. What was going through your mind at the Roval when you crossed the line and it said you sped?
Oh, that question was going. Well, it was just me and you that race, and we were just talking, and we had an intruder in our party, you would say, and my focus level probably was where it shouldn't have been, and we just got on the brake a little too late and cost that race for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think we all can relate to that. We've all been distracted and have our own ways of dealing with it. But I'm sure, especially in championship races, just setting yourself up for success. Removing distractions and all of that, definitely helpful. I know. I think I even showed offline for our championship race just so that nobody could send me an invite or something. So it's definitely something to think about as far as we go to the playoffs here in a little bit. So, just trying to find something to focus. So, all right. Well, if does anybody have any last questions before we wrap this thing up?
Sounds good.
I don't got any.
All right, cool. Well, I would like to thank everybody for joining us for episode 2 of the Fast Family Race Hub. We brought you some drivers today, Odd Coast and Puzzle Nose from our Truck Series, T-Glass 19 and Extreme Shocks from the Cup Series. You can catch these guys and the National Series guys coming up this week at Kentucky, starting tomorrow, Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, with the Truck Series, and then the Cup and National Series, respectively, Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Check those guys out. We wish them a lot of success for the rest of the season, and we will catch you guys at around week 15 with 5 weeks left to go in the regular season with another episode I am Mr. Slyjob 1996, and we will see you next time.